So how's everybody doing? Welcome to another Two Birds and a Third short discussion. This is going to be a short discussion on the last or the third episode of Champs vs. Pros from MTV. The last episode I did for episode 2, it went over pretty decently when it comes to views. But before I start with the current episode or the episode that just happened or was aired yesterday, I forgot to talk about one of the best parts of the last episode. Not the best, but the important. And I put it as the thumbnail, but I didn't actually talk about it. So that was the argument between Johnny Bananas and CM Punk. Now, in the previous mission that was called Tailgate Barbecue, that was one where they were supposed to be like hot dog things, and they were supposed to roll and get ketchup and mustard all over them. Well, CM Punk was one of the worst players on the pros to do that mission. And he ended up catching some flack at the very end from Johnny Bananas, who was just trying to poke at him, and he took it very seriously. Now, what CM Punk said, he was like, well, you've never done anything before or at a large stage, which is really weird because, I don't like Johnny Bananas personally, but I have a lot of respect for what he has done on the field when it's come to the challenge. 6 challenge wins that's a good amount. Best in show history. Now, he has been on the show for the most seasons out of anybody else, but he has still won the most too. But so CM Punk really lost that argument, especially when Johnny Bananas backhanded him with, "Well, you went from WWE to UFC and you got punked." But I guess CM Punk got the last laugh because CM Punk won the elimination or won the arena. I guess what it's going to be called, blindsided, and Johnny Bananas did not. So this was not a very memorable episode. It basically begins with the quote-unquote wolf pack of Luis Hazel and the other one being Lindsay Jacobellis from the pros team, creating their own little wolf pack against Lolo Jones, who, in my personal belief, they can see her whining so they can pick an odd person out. But I think that they are very intimidated by Lolo Jones in many ways. And there are 2 ways that you can play this game. The first way you can play this game is, to skate by, never become a team captain, don't make too much noise or be buddy with the quote alliance. And there's a very low chance that you're going to be picked that way. You will have to be a team captain, and I think in many cases you might even have to go into an elimination or an arena. The other way to do this is to be a team captain. You have almost a 50-50 chance of the team captain's team that wins. The team captain of that specific gender, male or female, gets $5,000. But then if you lose, then you go into elimination, and if you lose the elimination, there's actually an incentive to lose the elimination because you go home and your charity gets $1,000. So it's like a win-win. You get money if you win, you also get money if you lose. So that sort of thing is starting to show itself in this one-off challenge that is going on here. So the mission or the challenge was called Against the Ropes, which was not Against the Ropes. No, it was Out of Bounds. My bad. Against the Ropes was the first one. But excuse me. So it was called Out of Bounds, which was a mission that was done in Gauntlet 3 between the veterans and the rookies, which the veterans won because they had more people, both male and female, were able to push. They use kind of like a long pipe, a long thick pipe, or a long thick kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it was like something in between that you have to push. And or no, it was a pole. My bad. It was a pole, a large thick pole. And this time it's a one-on-one thing. So what's going on is, you know, one team picks the matchup and the other team picks the matchup. And to make a long story short, the professionals win. Okay, because they're women. Their women were stronger of the bunch. The the champs had 2 wins by the men, 2 losses by the men, 4 losses for the women. And I guess the biggest highlight was the fact that Wes decided to put himself up against Cameron Wembley just to be like, well, I'm just going to, you know, throw my round so that CT, Jordan, and Darrell get to go up against weaker guys. And that's exactly what happened. CT beat CM Punk. He punked CM Punk. Jordan should have been the throwaway because he goes up against, I forget who he goes up against, one of the 2 littler guys. I still don't know what the honest difference between the 2. One's a skier and one's a snowboarder. So I don't know which one it is, but it doesn't matter. But basically, long story short, probably for the women, the biggest battle was between Tia Blanco, who is a surfer, and the Camillanator. And Camilla, she had Tia on the ropes, but at the very end, Tia just pushed Camilla off because Camilla lost her composure or lost her footwork, and that was like the upset, basically. So at the end, what's her name? Lindsay Jacobellis, who was the team captain for the professionals, ended up winning and gaining immunity. And then Ashley M, she decided to make herself team captain again, which that's her strategy. Honestly, it's a decent strategy because she already has, well, I don't think she's won any money for her charity, but she still goes ahead and goes on, and she, you know, she's put her fears head on. I guess what was her charity? Her charity was facing addiction, which she had. So she's facing addiction head on. So she's facing the challenge head on. The elimination proceedings or the nominations weren't very exciting for the champs. All they had to do was pick one person. They ended up picking Ashley Kay, who happened to be the weakest player on the team for the females. And then it got really exciting because the professionals were basically teaming up against Lolo Jones, who again is a big mouth, who again is annoying, but she happens to be the biggest and strongest player. She's already gone to an elimination, and she's already come back. So, at the end of the day, she's still complaining because she doesn't want to go in. Honestly, if I was her, in every single female elimination, I would be the team captain each time, because at least you get to have your choice for who to potentially eliminate. So she goes in acting as if she's super fearless. So she gets picked by Lindsay Jacobellis to go in, and then the rest of the team decides to choose Tia Blanco, likely because she's the smallest player, to kind of, prove yourself. Honestly, if I was Louise Hazel or Lindsay Jacobellis, I would just go up against Lolo Jones, because you're either going to have to play with her or you're not. She's the kind of player who you would want to take out because she's the biggest player and you might have to go up against her in the very end. But she's one of those players who I would just take out. Just either I'm going to try to go in, try to beat that player. If I don't, I go home. Kind of like a Jordan, Johnny Bananas situation from Free Agents, where Jordan was like, I just want to, this guy's just annoying me. I just want to go in and beat him. And if I don't beat him, then I don't have to spend the rest of this time with him. So it goes down to a tie vote. And you're thinking Lolo Jones is a badass girl, and she's going to go up against Louise Hazel because they've sparred back and forth verbally. They're both annoyed with each other. They both hate each other. But instead, she just pussies out. She's like, I want to go with Tia Blanco because it gives me the best chance of staying. So she goes up against Tia Blanco. The elimination is called Basketball, which is an elimination we all remember from the Inferno 2 between Brad and Abram. I think it was done in Free Agents. I don't really remember who participated in it. And then it was done in the last season between Cara Maria and Laurel, and then Johnny Bananas and Darrell. This time, the ring is smaller, the bucket is lower to the ground, and the ball is a medicine ball, so it's stronger. So what you have to do is, if you have the ball, if you're on offense, you want to score. If you're on defense, you want to prevent the person from scoring, and of course, the player with the most points in the very end wins. So the first and only heat they show is between Ashley K and Ashley M. The Battle of the Ashleys. Smashley versus Ashley. Happy-go-lucky Ashley. And they go up against each other. Ashley K gets the first point, and Ashley M is unable to get her first point. And then Jordan goes, Ashley M is the weakest player on the team, which Jordan's got like foot and mouth syndrome, because Ashley M ends up beating Ashley K, and she just gives the proverbial middle finger to Jordan, who, honestly, he kind of looks like Freddie Mercury in this show. He's rocking the mustache. He looks like Freddie Mercury, which is kind of odd, because I wouldn't have pegged him for a Freddie Mercury. And the episode ends with Lolo Jones and Tia Blanco going up to do their elimination, and Tia, this from all that it looks like, is a matchup between David and Goliath. Lolo Jones looks just unbeatable in these eliminations. And, Tia Blanco, she showed herself to be a decent player, beating Camilla, who is arguably right now the best player on the champs team. But she's about to go up against her, and then Lindsay Jacobellis, she kind of has a change of thought. She's like, well, Lolo Jones is just going to smash Tia, is what she's saying in her mind. So she's like, I'm going to go in there. I want to go in there. And at the end of the day, it's Lolo Jones's decision. But this is the first time in any type of challenge history that a team captain, someone who has immunity and is thought to have not, there's like a bar where you're like, I'm not sure if you're allowed to even go into an elimination if you have exemption. You have the Aztec life shield in the Infernos, Inferno 1, Inferno 2, Inferno 3, where the person who wins the life shield is allowed to go in and replace their teammate if they so choose. And I think that happened twice in the first Inferno, where CT took David's position against Shane, and then what's her name? Kendall took Timmy's position against what was originally David and then became Leah. And then in Inferno 2, where Landon took Mike the Miz's position against Karamo. And you're looking at it and you're like, this hasn't really happened before. Basically, Victor Cruz goes, okay, Lolo, do you want to go up against Lindsay Jacobellis? And the episode ends with, there's going to be a decision. My personal opinion is she's going to say no. is that she's going to go up against Tia Blanco, because she had a chance to go up against Louise Hazel, and I see Louise Hazel and Lindsay Jacobellis to be on par with each other. I think Lolo Jones is just going to be like, I want the easier win, and that's what she's going to get. So that is episode 3 of Champs vs. Pros. We are having an episode of Two Birds and a Third Football podcast tonight at 7:30 Pacific. That's 10:30 Eastern. Sorry, East Coast. But I will be back within the week for more content. Peace.